Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Honorable to Dr. Ma'am Anissa Astrid MPD is our lecture. Let me introduce myself. My name is Nur Laila. I'm from PBI2, and in this opportunity I would like to explain my proposal entitled The Implementation of Songs Learning Media to Improve the Learner's Vocabulary in the 6th grade at SDN number 8 Gelombang. And in this study, actually there are research problem consists of two research questions. The first question is how the students' perceptions toward using song as a media in learning vocabulary. And the second question is, does the implementation of song as a learning media can improve students' vocabulary? And next is research objective. The first is to find out students' perception toward using song as a media in learning vocabulary, and then the second is to identify whether the implementation of song as a learning media can improve students' vocabulary. Okay, and then next we go to the next chapter, that is chapter 3. It's about research method. Okay, and in this chapter, actually there are some of components, and the first component is research design. In this study, the researcher used quantitative research, and the characteristic of quantitative research include having research variables, data in the form of numbers, requiring theory as the basis of research, hypotheses that are made based on theory and structure. Specifically, data collection using test and non-test instruments, and using statistical tests to prove the hypotheses that have been made. The type of research that will be used in this study is experimental method. In experimental methods, the researcher identify and define key variables, formulate hypotheses, manipulate variable, and collect data about outcomes. Experimental method tries to find the effect of certain variables on other variables with tight control by Sudarmayanti and Sarifudin 2002. And according to Margono 2005, experimental research uses an experiment that is specifically designed to generate the data needed to answer research question. Okay, based on the explanation and statement from some experts, the characteristic of experimental method will be able to answer the research question in this study, whether the variable X, that is song media, can influence the variable Y, that is students' vocabulary. Okay, next is setting and participants. The first is place of the study. The research will be conducted in elementary school SDN number 8 Gelombang. In more specifically, the location of this school is located in the Gaung Tolang village, Gelombang Subdistrict, Muara Enim District, Palembang, South Sumatra. And then the population and sample. The population will be in the 6th grade students at SDN number 8 Gelombang, which consists of two classes, namely class 6A with 20 students and 6B with 20 students. And then the sample. In the study, the researcher will be use random sampling to take the sample, where the sample selection is done randomly without looking at the status or certain characteristics of the students in the population. Okay, and next is data collection. In this study, the researcher will be use some instruments to collecting the data. The first is questionnaire. The type of questionnaire that the researcher will be used is a closed questionnaire, in which the researcher has provided answer and the respondent only determines the answer that are already available or limited answer. In this case, the questionnaire format used the Likert scale with 10 items, and the answer formats like This strongly agree or SA, agree or A, neutral or N, disagree or DA, and strongly disagree as DA. And then the next instrument is test. In the study, a written test will be used where the researcher gave several questions in writing about what the respondent want to know, and the respondents answered the question that were asked in writing as well. The test instrument consists of pretest and posttest. Pretest is used to determine students' initial ability before treatment, while posttest is determine students' learning outcomes after treatment. The type of test will be used multiple choice with 20 items. Okay, validity and reliability. To test the validity of the data, it will be test the validity of the questionnaire items. High and low the validity of a questionnaire is calculated using the person's product moment correlation method, namely by calculating the correlation between the score of the question item and the total score. And this is the formula of Pearson's product moment correlation. Okay, the results of this calculation will be compared with the critical value in this table. The value of R with a significance level of 5% and the number of samples available. If the result of the product moment correlation calculating is greater than the critical value, then this instrument is declared valid. Conversely, if the item score is less than the critical value, then this instrument is declared invalid. To facilitate calculations, researchers use a program SPSS 90.0 for Windows computer. And then reliability. According to Suharsini Arikunto 2010, reliability refers to the notion that the instrument can be trusted to be used as a data collection tool because the instrument is good. To calculate the reliability will be done using the Cronbach-Alpha coefficient, and this is the formula of Cronbach-Alpha coefficient. The instrument to measure each variable is said to be reliable if it has a Cronbach alpha greater than 0.16. To facilitate calculations, researchers use a program SPSS 16.0 Windows computer. Okay. Data analysis. The last components. Data analysis that will be carried out in this research at the initial stage use descriptive statistics to explore the data and describes all information data obtained from the result of the research that the researcher has done. After the data was collected, the researcher then tested the normality of the data and the homogeneity of the data. Then the researcher tests the hypothesis using t-test formula. This is the formula of t-test. Okay, to facilitate calculations, researcher use program SPSS 16.0 Windows computer. Okay, to normality test data, it can be used one sample, Kolmogorov-Smirnov test, and the significance have to more than 0.05. So it means the data distribution is normal. The homogeneity test is used to test whether the t-test data model is homogeneous or not. If the value is significance or probability value more than 0.05, then the data are of the same variance of homogeneous. Okay, I think that's all for my explanation today. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.